What the fuck is this?
I don't know.
Mask Cutscene Storage, MCS for short. Taking advantage of the fact that this cutscene with the memory statue doesn't start until we touch the ground, we can take this sucker anywhere. Start from a new expedition. Obtain the launch codes, either the normal way, or grabbing your spacesuit beforehand. As long as you don't take off in the ship before you have the launch codes, you'll be fine. Or else the dialogue option with HAL won't appear, and the cutscene can never start. Once you have the launch codes, you can either go back to the ship and grab your suit, or prepare for the next step. At this point, you'll want to fly through this area around the statue, out the door, into wherever your destination may lie. The moment you land on a solid surface with the gravity, the cutscene will trigger. You can use your scout as a jetpack of sorts to get off the ground. I recommend binding Recall Scout to the left mouse button or scroll wheel up and down, if scrolling ever gets fixed in a future patch. You can also land in the water of the geyser in the center of town and let it help you launch into orbit. Your position and velocity are always relative to Timber Hearth, so if the cutscene ends on the launch pad, you end up on the launch pad. Directly above this spot, you end up above this spot. Outside the influence of Timber Hearth, however, it gets a little bit more complicated. This tool, made by our resident scientist Kabuto, gives us a visual of what's going on. As it turns out, the cutscene reloads the entire solar system scene, placing everything back to their starting locations relative to Timber Hearth, including your scout, spacesuit, and ship. It can be thought of as Timber Hearth being the center of the universe, with everything orbiting around it. For example, end the cutscene at chert 5 minutes 58 seconds into the loop, and you'll end up directly above Brittle Hollow. End of the cutscene here and now, and you'll end up in the core of Giant Steep. A special quirk of MCS is that whatever kind of atmosphere you load into, you won't suffocate in, until you change atmospheres, be it space, water, or even another planet's unbreathable air. Another important thing to note is that once outside the influence of Timber Hearth, you must keep it loaded in, or you'll be stuck in an eternal loading screen. Leave your scout behind, or view the mines through a Timber Hearth projection stone to prevent this offlock from happening. But what if you want to reverse the destruction of spacetime? Ember Twin Out of Bounds. This trick involves sector triggers and the scout's ability to keep sectors loaded. To get out of bounds, place your scout in this general area and head into this cave. At about this shadow line is a trigger that loads the cave and unloads the outside. Travel through this invisible trigger, then go back. Most props in this area are now unloaded until you leave and revisit the sector, or until you recall your scout. We believe this works because we've tricked the game into thinking we're still in the caves. Go to these rocks to find a piece of missing geometry in the terrain, and you're out of bounds. Keep in mind that the caves of Ember Twin are still very much here, you just can't see them. Stick to the right and don't go too far forward. Once you're out of the prop rocks, it's safe to recall your scout. Head to the high energy lab, prepare the experiment, and open the door. The rest is quite simple, really. Go back to Timber Hearth, do mask cutscene storage, take it all the way to Ember Twin, enter the high energy lab, fire your scout, and take out a warp core.